ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् गुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Verse 112 तत्त्वभावनया नश्येत् सातो देहातिरिक्तताम् आत्मनो भावयेत् तद्वत् मिथ्यात्वं जगतो निशम्. So Vidyaranya has entered into a topic of this pratibandha nivrutti, removal of obstacles. The topic is between verse number 93 to verse number 134. And here the obstacle is between Jnanam and Jnanaphalam. So, Mahavakya is able to generate the Jnanam in a form of a vritti. I am consciousness. That is generated. But after the vritti is generated in the mind, this Jnanaphalam is not there. If I am consciousness, limitless consciousness, then why should I say I am insignificant? I should not say. I should not feel also I am insignificant. Because you only say I am a limitless consciousness. Then why you are taking like this? I am limited being, insignificant being. So that shows there is a definitely an obstacle. So aham brahmasmi vritti is there, jnanam is there, but that I am free, well, that benefit is not there. And therefore, well, there is some pratibandha. And three types of pratibandhas we have seen. And to remove that pratibandha, nididhyasanam is required. And that nididhyasanam also is of two types. Samadhi abhyasa rupa nididhyasanam and other one is a brahma abhyasa. Samadhi abhyasa means a traditional form of meditation. And here samadhi abhyasa means definitely yoga, ashtanga yoga type of nididhyasanam, in which Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 and Mandukya Upanishad also, I said you the towards the end of the third chapter, also in the first chapter of this Pancadasi itself, all this Samadhi Abhyasa Nididhyasanam is talked about, in which Desha, Kala, everything, and the status of the prana, status, house, and the posture, everything is important. I mean, you follow all that and do Atma Dhyanam, etc. That I am so and so, I am in consciousness, etc. I am Nitya Shuddha, etc. So this is Samadhi Abhyasa Nididhyasanam, in which you definitely follow a certain steps of Ashtanga Yoga. And and the other one is a Brahma Abhyasa. And here we don't follow these rules. We don't stick to the rules. In particular posture only I have to sit. In particular asanam I have to sit. Well, and then this, making equal inhalation and exhalation, etc. Or observing one's own breath, etc. Then nothing. Because basically mind alone is involved, right? So mind should be focused on the self. And therefore, mind should dwell upon the teaching, which he has already received in Shravanam. So Vidyaranya concentrates here in this chapter on this second type, this Nididhyasanam called Brahmabhyasa. And in that for that purpose, he quotes a shloka from Yoga Vasishtha. This 106, verse number 106 we have seen also. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam, anyonyam, tat prabodhanam, etc. etc. So, means basically, one should constantly dwell upon this teaching in form of a reading, in form of a writing, in form of a listening, in form of a discussing, in form of a teaching, etc. So, that is this type of Nididhyasanam is talked about here. And then, we were discussing, that is, this Nididhyasana is meant for basically removing Viparita Bhavana, Pratibandha. And then Vidyaranya in verse number 110 gives a definition of Viparita Bhavana. What is a Viparita Bhavana? Or what is Adhyasa? Same thing. What is obstacle which will be removed by this Nididhyasana? What is that? So he says, Yad yatha vartate tasya tattvam hitva anyathatva dihi bhavana syat. Well, yad yatha vartate. Suppose a thing has got a particular nature, like, and then tasya tattvam hitva, and that nature has been missed, has been lost sight of. And anyathatva dihi, different nature is wrongly perceived. That is called Viparita Bhavana. That is called misconception, misapprehension. That is called superimposition, etc. And he gave example of Aridhi Pitradhau Yatha. Just as a father is there, but he is looked upon as an enemy by the son. So the Shatrutva, eneminess, is superimposed upon the father. Father can never be enemy. But so his nature is, he is a benevolent of this, son, etc. How can he be enemy? But so, yad yatha vartate, father is of a particular nature. Tasya tattvam hitva, that nature has been lost sight of by the son. And anyathatva dihi, different nature is wrongly placed or perceived. That's called Viparita Bhavana. So that is Pitari Shatrutva Bhavana. Pitari, on the father, you have a Shatrutva Bhavana, is called Viparita Bhavana, Adhyasa, etc. So same way, with respect to this Atma and Anatma, we have Viparita Bhavana. So two types of Viparita Bhavana. Viparita Bhavana centered on Atma, means Atma is seen right now by us, different from what it is. And Anatma also, Jagat also is seen by us, perceived by us, but in a wrong manner. That also there is a superimposition. So Viparita Bhavana is with respect to Atma and Anatma. Yeah. I think I will have to now go to the lecture hall only. But anyway, I thought in the morning 6 o'clock, I don't want to. So, you be there. I will connect again and, So I think that this is the issue here. Okay. So this is with respect to Atma and Anatma, there is a Viparita Bhavana. And and what are those Viparita Bhavana centered on Atma and centered on Anatma? That he said in verse number 111. So first, what he says, Ayam Atma Dehadi Binna. Yad yatha vartate. This Atma is really a distinct from this body mind sense complex, distinct from the Ahankara, because Ahankara includes body mind sense complex. Ahankara means I sense in the body mind sense complex. So basically Atma is distinct from this Ahankara. That is its real nature. Is looked upon as what? Dehadi Atmadvihi, Atmatvadhihi. Instead of that, Well, I look upon myself as a Dehadi. So it is Viparita Bhavana. Means superimposing the body mind sense complex upon the self, the real self. So perceived differently. Misapprehension, superimposition. So this is a Viparita Bhavana centered on Atma. Right? And then second type of Viparita Bhavana centered on Anatma. What is that? Idam Jagat Mithya. So this universe is actually Mithya. That's the nature of Anatma. Well, instead I am confused and I take Satyatva Dihi, I take this world as a real. So taking Jagat as a Satyam, in reality it is Mithya, that is its nature. I missed it and I take it as a Satyam. So that is Viparita Bhavana centered on Anatma. So these two types of Viparita Bhavana or Adhyasa are there. And then in verse 112, now he defines Nididhyasanam, means a deliberate negation of these two types of mistakes by entertaining a counter thoughts naturally. So I am Dehadi, that's a Viparita Bhavana. What should be my thinking? Well, I am not Dehadi, I am Dehadi Vilakshanaha. I am distinct from all these three bodies. I am distinct from body, mind, sense complex. How can you say like that? Why do you say like that? If you have that question, Nididhyasanam is not required for you. You have to go back to the Shravanam. If you really surprise, oh, how can I be distinct from body, mind, sense complex? If you have this kind of question, you are not at the stage of Nididhyasanam. Start listening Upanishad, okay? So, sa tattva bhavanaya nashet. If these questions come, any doubt comes with respect to the nature of Atma or Anatma, please leave Nididhyasanam. Leave. This is for the people who have done Shravana Mananam. Mananam also. Doubt is not there. Only Pratibandha is there. He is clear. With respect to Shravanam and Mananam, and with regards to the Shravana and Mananam, well, he is very clear. I am distinct from the body, mind, sense complex. But because of that Dehatma Bhavana, which is habitually, he is taking himself as a body, mind, sense complex. That's the obstacle. To remove that Nididhyasanam is there. If you have a doubt that how can I be distinct from the body, mind, sense complex, means, well, you are not eligible for Nididhyasanam. Please understand this very well. Whatever I am saying, apply in your life, and don't get confused. Don't get confused. But while I am listening since many years, don't worry about it. Why should you have such a kind of a notion that if I listen for a long time, I should be ready for Nididhyasanam? That's another notion one has. So one has to remove that notion. One has to be honest with oneself. You need not have to declare outside, I am not fit for Nididhyasanam. I am not fit. Don't say that. Need not say that. You should know where you stand. No teacher can give you a certificate for that. Really speaking, no teacher can give. You should give certificate to yourself. Please, never have that notion that I am a very senior sadhaka and I am listening Upanishad, Bhashyam and this and that and for many years. How can I have that doubt? I should not have that doubt. But you are having a doubt. Forget about it. Wherever we are, because these obstacles are of many janmas. And because, all people do not have that, purity, basically. Because sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is always very varying here and there. So, well, if it is less, this thing will not be able to appreciate with a clarity, etc. So, nothing to worry. So, it will come on its own. So, better listen and do Shravanam and Mananam and be clear that you are Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhava consciousness. You are ever free consciousness. You are limitless consciousness, which is a witness of everything, etc., etc. Be clear about it. And then definitely still that Dehadi Bhavana keeps coming because of the samskara, etc., because of the, Anadi Kala Pravutta. So that definitely, then Nididhyasanam is that will become significant. So sa tattva bhavanaya nashyet. This twofold viparita bhavana centered on Atma and centered on Anatma. Jagat satyatva dihi. Well, the world is real. That kind of a bhavana. And well, this Atma is dehadi. That is another viparita bhavana. Well, it keeps coming. This twofold viparita bhavana will have to be gradually weakened by entertaining counter opposite thoughts. So whenever that you claim I am a husband, etc., well, you deliberately think I am not a husband. I am not a husband, I am not a father, I am not a mother, etc., etc. So, so I will not entertain any worry or etc. Because this thing, when you say I am father, etc., then you will have a worries. Centered on the fatherhood, etc. But anyway, so tattva bhavana means nididhyasana. So sa means this viparita bhavana. Tattva bhavanaya nashyet. This viparita bhavana will weaken. Tattva bhavana means, well, either of these two types of nididhyasanam, well, it gets weakened. So repeated listening becomes nididhyasanam if we do alteration. So later classes, well, definitely no new knowledge will be there. In Shravanam, when Atma or Brahman, etc. is described, well, a student replaces with I. That's alteration in Shravanam. So Atma is Adrishyam, Avarnam, Achakshushotram, Agotram. No. I am Adrishyam. I am not an object of perception. Atma can never be perceived. I can never be perceived. What is perceived is always other than the I. And etc. etc. So Avarnam, Achakshushotram. I am not a seer. I don't possess any kind of a senses. When you say I am a seer, you have included the senses in the eye. So eyes, etc. So I am not a seer, I am not a hearer, I am not this, I am not that. So practice nididhyasana, in which this twofold type of nididhyasana you can practice. Atmanaha atiriktatam bhavayet. Well, first, to remove that viparita bhavana centered on Atma, Atmanaha atiriktatam bhavayet. May you invoke the distinctness of Atma. Distinctness from what? Distinctness from Dehadi. So I am Deha, I am body, mind, sense complex, etc. Well, you invoke that you are different from this body, mind, sense complex. Bhavayet means do that nididhyasana. So this kind of nididhyasana you should do. Deliberate, entertain the thoughts centered on the self. Anyway, and what will be the other type of viparita bhavana? That is, we have seen Jagat Satyatva bhavana. So he says Tadvat, equally in the same way, Jagat Mithyatvam cha. You should meditate that this Jagat is Mithya. It is like a wave. Jagat, every name and form is like a wave. I am the water. The very existence of the wave is the existence of water. Same way, all the names and forms are non-separate from the consciousness. When you say any given name and form, consciousness is included. Consciousness is included. Whether you say it or not, that's a different issue. When you say pot consciousness is there. That's it. So pot is non-separate from the consciousness, that is I. Where is pot other than the consciousness? Ask this question. Where is pot other than consciousness? Where is computer other than consciousness? So, pot, etc. is the object of consciousness, but they don't have an independent existence other than consciousness. So consciousness only is a adhishthanam of that. I am the adhishthanam of that. I am Satyam, because pot goes and computer comes. Computer goes and then something pan comes. So pot consciousness, that consciousness, this consciousness is invariable. Objects are variable. What comes and goes is mithya. They don't exist independently. What does not exist independently yet it is experience is mithya. I am the consciousness which is invariably present in everything. Without me they don't exist. I exist on my own. Consciousness, the consciousness exists because I exist. I am self-existent and I am self-revealing. Pot is revealed because consciousness is there. Consciousness is revealed. And but I am revealed because I am revealed. That's it. So I am self-revealing, self-existent. Pot is not self-existent, pot is not self-revealing. Pot is revealed by the consciousness I. How? Well, then the pot means Jagat. Any pot. A human being also is a pot. Another pot. So any pot, you have to say that. Because generally we give, for the world, we always give example of pot. Pot is created, it's the same way world is created. So pot. Any name and form is pot. Yeah. Understand this very well. Swamiji, pot, this, that. But pot consciousness is already there. No. I want to say pot means pot knowledge. That is consciousness. Okay. You say consciousness, you say knowledge. It's the same thing. Satyam Jnanam. So pot means pot knowledge. No pot consciousness. Okay. You use another word. If you are allergic to consciousness, don't worry about it. Pot means pot knowledge, but that knowledge is invariable. Anything is, anything consciousness is. Pot consciousness is. It is invariable. You can't miss it. You can miss it if you don't know it. But if you don't know it, it doesn't mean it is not there. You can miss because of ignorance. We appreciate when you study Upanishad. Consciousness is invariable. What is invariable is Satyam, because cannot be negated. What is variable is Mithya. That's what we saw also in Kenopanishad, if you remember. Pratibodha viditam matam, bodham prati yad viditam. Bodham, cognition, knowledge. What cognition? Bodha. Computer cognition, bodha. Bodham prati yad viditam. Tad Brahma. In every cognition, in every piece of knowledge, consciousness is invariably present, without which no experience can take place, no knowledge can take place. Right? And therefore, even whether it is based on pratyaksha, whether it is based on inference, any knowledge born of any pramana, knowledge, consciousness is invariably there. I am that consciousness. Because I say I know pot. Oh, so you are knowledge, you are consciousness. I am conscious of the pot. Okay, and therefore you are consciousness. Consciousness is not lying somewhere else. Right? And we'll discuss further also. So tadvat, equally in the same way, Jagat Mithyatvam also, you should think of this constantly. Think of that Jagat Mithyatvam also. Jagat Satyatvam is a pratibandha. And to remove that pratibandha, because even after Shravanam and Mananam and understanding Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, I am Satyam, Jagat Mithya, still this pratibandha obstacle keeps coming, Jagat is Satyam. Therefore, have a deliberate thinking. And so gradually it will weaken your by entertaining this opposite thought that Jagat is Mithya. And that way, and Anisham. See? Anisham. Acharya says constantly. Anisham means constantly. Keep thinking this. Jagat is Mithya. I am distinct from Deha. I am distinct from body, mind, sense complex. And I am not this body, mind, sense complex, because in absence of body, mind, sense complex, I exist. If I am body, mind, sense complex, if body gets resolved, I am resolved. But that's not the case in a deep sleep state. When all of them are not there in my awareness, still I am there, independent of body, mind, sense complex. So, definitely, this pratibandha will go. Anyway, so 130. 30. किम मंत्र जप वन्मूर्ति ध्यानवद आत्मभेदधीः जगन्मिथ्यात्वधीश्चात्र व्यावर्त्या स्यादुतान्यथा. So here in this portion now Vidyaranya discusses a very important thing, Because we talked about two types of nididhyasanam which can remove these two types of pratibandha. And one is a samadhi abhyasa and the other is a brahma abhyasa, etc. And either of that or both can be practiced. One can sit in a particular posture and meditate upon this self. Atma Dhyanam can be done, or one can just be in a vyavara. One can lie down and one can walk and one can talk, etc. In another way, in other thing also, your mind remains focused in the teaching. Then that is also Brahma Abhyasa Nididhyasana. And well, is there a choice between those two types of Nididhyasanam? That question should not arise because the Nididhyasanam itself is not compulsory. Then there is a question of a further to talk about. If Nididhyasanam itself is not compulsory, then we should not talk about that the Samadhi Abhyasa is a compulsory or Brahma Abhyasa is a compulsory. That question should not arise at all. So there is no compulsion that this particular Nididhyasanam is to be done, this particular Nididhyasanam is not to be done, or both should be done, or this. Even one is not compulsory, there is a question of both compulsory. If one has a sadhan chatushtaya sampatti, one need not do Nididhyasanam. In fact, one does not do. If one has a sadhan chatushtaya sampatti, Shravanam is just enough. Shravanam is enough. Nididhyasanam itself is not compulsory. But in today's world, we all in this Kali Yuga, where there is a Kalaha. Kalaha is a Kali. Kalaha means this internal, strife, internal struggle, constant. That is between Raga, Dvesha and Dharma. All the time. Tremendous struggle. Mental struggle. That's called Kalaha. Kalaha. So, that's a predominant in Kali. They always say that. Therefore, that means there is no adhikaritva. Sadhan chatushtaya sampatti is not there. And therefore, then Nididhyasanam, long, not Nididhyasanam required, long Nididhyasanam is long. That's how he also, Vidyaranya also, I think 600 years ago only he was there, I think, as an Acharya in Sringeri. So he in Kali, right? And therefore he says Anisham, constantly bhavayet, tattva bhavanaya. So this Nididhyasanam, well, constantly should be done. He has accepted that no one would be a sadhan chatushtaya sampattivan. And still by punyam, one gets a teacher and one starts listening and all that, mananam, and very nice, everything goes on. But Nididhyasanam becomes compulsory. It is not compulsory but becomes compulsory because the adhikaritvam is lacking. And everyone lacks with adhikaritvam in this world. And therefore, well, so, but ideally speaking, Nididhyasanam itself is not required. We know also. Shravanam itself has generated knowledge for Nachiketa, etc. And therefore, he has not told Yamaraja, now, okay, Tata, I will be going for Nididhyasanam now in my room. He has not told. He has appreciated whatever the teaching given by Yamaraja. Immediately he appreciated. So that shows that Nididhyasanam is not required. Anyway, so adhikaritvam is there, therefore you don't require. So what, out of both are compulsory, Samadhi Abhyasa or Brahma Abhyasa, both are compulsory to be done. Well, Nididhyasanam itself is not compulsory. There is a question of further compulsion. And therefore, but I am saying that's an ideal situation. But right now, while looking upon this scenario, definitely one requires Nididhyasanam. But this or that, etc., it's not. You can do both. You can do one of that, whatever you like. So here he is going to say Samadhi Abhyasa, etc. is not compulsory. He is going to say in this now verses from 113 to 123. In this 10-11 verses, he is going to say that don't think that Samadhi Abhyasa is compulsory. Even you can do Brahma Abhyasa also. Because he has initiated that Nididhyasana, right? In 106, by quoting from Yoga Vasishtha, he has initiated that Nididhyasana, Brahma Abhyasa Nididhyasana. So he's talking that is itself is sufficient. You need not have need not sit even in a samadhi abhyasa. By saying samadhi abhyasa, he wants to say that certain rules etc. has to be done or not. In fact, many people have asked me this question. Swamiji, well, I will sit in a nididhyasanam. What time I should sit in nididhyasanam? First, what place should I choose? Which direction I should choose? Should I sit in facing north? Should I do this? And should I do nididhyasanam before taking bath or after bath or this or that? No niyama. Why? No niyama. That's what the topic now. That's the topic. Well, because sitting in a particular posture and all and meditating, immediately we think of all rules, right? Because in upasana, that's a rule. It's a rule there. You have to take bath and sit and etc. and sit in a facing east or north and this and that, and you should sit on a darbhasana and this and so. And Bhagavan also talks about in 6th chapter. For samadhi, 6th chapter dhyana yoga means nididhyasana. And in that nididhyasana is samadhi abhyasa, because he talks about all the steps. And he says you choose a particular kind of asana. And in that first is that mrga charma, and then there will be this one darbha, and then there will be a loin cloth, etc. And sit on that. And then samam kaya shiro grivam dharayan achalam sthiraha. So sit erect, and your head, neck and back should be in a straight line perpendicular to the base of the body, and this and that. So we feel all the rules are there. Therefore, nididhyasanam are all rules. If I don't follow the rules, I will not gain a brahmanishta. So he is removing that notion. For upasana, everything is required. For nididhyasanam, you don't require. For saguna brahma dhyanam, you require. For nirguna brahma dhyanam, atma dhyanam, you don't require all this. Even if you sit in a particular posture, etc. That is not required. Why? Why it is not required? That's a topic now. Clear? I am building what is going to come in this now 10, 11 verses. In short, samadhi abhyasa, nididhyasam itself is not compulsory. Like, and he is going to say mantra japavat avartya. So vyavartya. So one, mantra japavat. Like one is doing mantra japa. Should I, Swami, give me some mantra for nididhyasana? One person asked me, give me mantra for nididhyasana. I said, Mahavakya is mantra. Mahavakya, aham brahmasmi. Then he said, well, like we do Om Namah Shivaya in Saguna Brahma Upasana, same way should I do this while sitting in a particular posture and all that in a Samadhi Abhyasa, right? A Samadhi Rupa Nididhyasanam, I should sit like that and face a certain direction, and then this mantra should I do? Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, and that will give me nishtha, right, Swamiji? I said, forget about it. So mantra japavat, Acharya says, like you are doing a mantra japa in a Saguna Brahma Upasana like Om Namah Shivaya, etc. Well, should I do here also something like that in Samadhi Abhyasa? Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. This is one type of mantra. Because that, definitely because Aham Deha, Aham Deha, Aham Deha. So when start opposite thought, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, that japa, that rule is not there. So mantra japavat or murti dhyanam, he says. Murti dhyanam. In Saguna Brahma Upasana, well, definitely ekarupa dhyanam. You meditate upon the one form of a Krishna, etc., or a Shiva or whatever, Devi or what. Same way here also, should I do something like that? Nothing like that. So nididhyasanam thought is what? Atma bheda dhihi. I am different from anatma. But that japa is not required. You definitely dwell upon that. You dwell upon that means constantly think. So you think constantly, but one minute. So you constantly think. It is testing my patience all the time. Anyway, so I am different from Anatma, etc. Atmanah Sharirat Bhed. That kind of thinking is required. And for that purpose, it is not a dhyanam. Oh, I am different from the body. I am different from the body. I am different from the body. Well, that is not required. Right? You all become, still. So, all were in a still posture for me for a moment. Anyway. And the second is a Jagat Mithyatva Dihi. That's another type of thought. Jagat is Mithya. So should I do that? You are saying Samadhi Abhyasa. When Samadhi Abhyasa is exactly like a Saguna Brahma Upasana, sitting in a particular posture, traditional form of meditation. And then definitely there should be, like in Saguna Brahma, there should be here also a particular thought should be Avrutti should be done. What is that thought? Another type of thought is this. Jagat is mithya, Jagat is mithya, Jagat is mithya, Jagat is mithya. Nothing is required like that. I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Like Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Vidyaranya says, forget about it. Jagat is mithya, think about it. What is mithyatva? Oh, that itself is a question. What is mithyatva? Then leave. Just get up. Just get up and start listening Upanishad. Okay? What is mithya? That itself is, if there is a question, then go back to Upanishad and listen. And listen. And listen. And listen. Take this, I am telling you. This is never, never, never give up listening. But then when will I do Nididhyasanam? Forget about it. This Shravanam itself, when it gives you clarity and still you do Shravanam, that becomes Nididhyasanam. Never leave this Shravanam. Many people here in the United States have left listening, thinking that they are fit for Nididhyasanam. So they are very senior and therefore they are fit for Nididhyasanam. If I tell to anyone that still I listen Upanishad, then what people will think about me. And therefore, this never, paunah punyena shravanam kuryat. But Swamiji, I am tired of listening. Then even leave Vedanta, I am telling you. Do japa, start visiting temples, do japa and do something reaching out actions. I am telling you, many people feel that they are tired of listening. If that is the criteria, well, it's a big obstacle, very big obstacle. If you are not tired of listening, but thinking that you are fit for Nididhyasanam, and then okay, do Nididhyasana. Oh, but then I am feeling, what is this mithya? Jagat is mithya. How will I think, Swamiji? Somebody asked me. In my mind, Swamiji, this thought comes. Jagat is mithya. But then further I am not able to think, what is this Jagat is mithya? Means I can't elaborate. My mind can't elaborate. Means mind has no data. If mind has no data, fill the mind with the data. That's Shravanam. Therefore, in either case, whatever may be the case, never give up listening. Wise thing is this. Just listen and listen and listen, and you will find the clarity grows. And that clarity grows means ultimately you become so clear that you don't require further clarity. That's a nishtha. That's how I say Nididhyasanam is not compulsory, but in case, if Shravanam should be able to remove the Pratibandha also, but still if you feel that Nididhyasanam should be done, then either of that will be okay. It is not compulsory to sit in a particular posture and particular facing certain direction on particular asanam, and without bath, with bath, etc. While walking you can do, while lying down you can do, while just sitting you can do, anything. Mind should be focused on teaching, without listening. If it is possible, don't worry about it. If without listening mind is not focused on this teaching, means Nididhyasanam is, we are not fit for Nididhyasanam. Anyway, so this two thought, should I repeat these two types of thought? I am different from this body, I am different from this body, I am different from this body, I am different from this body. Or Jagat Mithya, to Jagat is Mithya, Jagat is Mithya, Jagat is Mithya. Well, should a person repeat regularly like this, following these certain rules? No. Uta Anyatha, means Purvapakshi is asking. Or is there a relaxation in this rule? Well, iti. If this is a doubt person has, Vidyaranya says there is no rule for Nididhyasana. There are all rules for Upasana. There is no rule for Nididhyasana. There are all rules for Upasana. Why? That's what we discuss now. So, verse 140. Anyatheti vijanihi drishtarthatvena bhuktivat bubukshur japavad bhungte na kaschinniyatah kvachit. A technical point is discussed here pertaining to Mimamsa. So when we do a particular action to get punyam, you have to follow rules perfectly. That's a rule. If you do something for getting adrishta, for getting invisible result, for getting punya, you have to follow the rules. Starting from sitting, facing the direction, taking bath, this, that, etc. All stipulations are required. Like, when you get when you go to temple, they give a tirtham, right? Some water from the, they give a bath to Bhagavan in the Abhisheka. And then water that is collected, they give it as a tirtham. It is a prasada for all. So we take that, we take this not for that we are thirsty, but we are given this prasadam, and if we sip that, well, it's a punyam. Then you have to, there is a rule for that. What is the rule? You should not stand and take the tirtham. You should sit down and take the tirtham. Sit and take. If you follow this rule, there is a punyam. If you don't follow, well, there is a papam. So in some case, papam also will come, or else punyam you won't get. Anyway, so definitely, because the expected result is invisible, punyam. But when you want to remove the thirst, let's say the expected result is visible. You are thirsty and you want to quench the thirst. That is a visible result. Well, in that case, no rule for drinking. And that's what we do. We drink water to quench the thirst, not by sitting. Even by standing, even by lying down also one can drink anything. People may be drinking also water by lying down. Order the water. Please bring water. And then this fellow is lying down. And while doing that itself he drinks. Oh, you should not do. You should just sit and not stand also, not lying down. Just sit and drink. And drop by drop. Drink drop by drop. If you drink, at work, people drink complete. Within few seconds they drink the whole. No rule. Because the expected result is to quench the thirst. Drashta phalam. Not adrishtam punyam. If adrishtam, expected result is punyam, follow all rules. Expected result is not adrishtam, expected result is not, adrishtam, well, no rules. So no conditions or rules for drinking water. But when it go to temple and drink water, take the tirtham, there is all rule. Sit and take. So when we practice upasana, mantra japam or a murti dhyanam, etc., and that is we are doing for generating punyam, adrishta phalam, going to the loka or going to, getting some punyam, well, then you should face a proper direction, etc., etc., all rules will come. In that Sandhya Vandanam, they do this mantra japa, right? Gayatri japa, etc. Time is very important. That achamanam also is very important. How much achamanam you should do, in Sandhya Vandanam. There is a panchapatra, right? And there is a particular copper vessel in that you fill the water and you take a spoon also is of a copper. We call achamani. So with that you drink. And how much you should take, water. Like you know that udad grain. That's one grain if you keep in your palm, and that should be submerged. That much water. That one grain. That much water only you should take. Not more. All rules will be there. Anyway, so Vidyaranya says Nididhyasanam is not meant for punyam or adrishtaphalam. Nididhyasanam is for removing the habitual identifications, right? And so, which is a drashtaphalam. You have a habitual error. You are taking, you know that you are taking body as a self. That's a pratibandha is drashtam. You know the pratibandha is there, which is your experience, visible. And therefore you want to remove that. So you don't want any punya or adrishta, etc. You want to remove that pratibandha, which is visible. And therefore, rule is required. Even if you sit in a traditional form of meditation, looks like that you are doing Ishvara Dhyanam, you are doing japa kind of a thing, you look like that outside from external, this one scenario, it looks that you are sitting like that, but that no rule is required. And in fact, this for getting nishtha, etc., for getting removal, for removing all these obstacles, you need not do even samadhi abhyasa also. This brahma abhyasa will be alright. Because dhyanam comes means people immediately think, which direction should I face, where, in which asanam I should sit, and what time I should sit, what place I should sit, etc., etc. With bath I should sit or without bath I should sit. All these things will, even though we use dhyanam, atma dhyanam, no rule is required because we want to remove the obstacles which are drashtam, visible. We don't want any invisible result, punyam. Clear? Is it clear? That's a thing here. So, anyatha iti vijanihi. So, it is anyatha. It is unlike that, means unlike upasana, unlike murti dhyanam, unlike mantra japa. Nididhyasanam is unlike upasana. And and Vidyaranya talks about two kind of upasana here, mantra japa or murti dhyanam. This Nididhyasanam is unlike that. So Atma Bheda Dihi, Jagat Mithyatva Dihi, that's a Nididhyasanam, and they are different. Iti Vijanihi. May you know that this Nididhyasanam is distinct from this Upasana, is different from the Upasana. Drashta Arthatvena, because Nididhyasanam is meant for Drashta Prayojanam, Bhuktavat, like eating food. He gives a very beautiful example. He explains that in a second line. He says, Kaschit bubhukshuhu japavat na bhungte. So like some person who is hungry, who is not observing the rules of japa, when he is hungry and eats the food, means time, direction, he does not observe. His aim is hunger. His aim is hunger should go. Hunger should be appeased. Well, then niyataha, he does not observe a certain rules. Niyataha means the niyama. Niyataha na bhungte, means he does not eat keeping certain rules, because his aim, his expected result is to remove hunger, which is visible, which is experienceable. He is not eating food to get some punyam, etc. Kvachit, at any time, he does not observe these rules for eating. When he he expects a result of removing the hunger. Clear? Is it clear to you? And so, therefore, there are certain, whereas in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad they say, well, it has been shown, for samruddhi, etc., for getting prosperity or for getting a son, etc., you do certain yaga. That's, Shri Sukta Homa and Putra Kameshti or some other Homa, whatever. So, some Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in the later portion, you may say, Swamiji, you are saying this Homa in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is there in the sixth chapter, I think. The last chapter in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad talks about a certain ritual which is required for getting a good son, samskari. So while he should have, so certain things have been shown there, all rules are there. So when you want and then you are going to get a prosperity, etc., or that or a son, etc., through homa, means through adrishta, some punya will be generated, and that punya will be translated into this getting son or getting prosperity. So there the aim is definitely to generate adrishta. Then all rules are required. And in this homa, because we are talking about eating, no rule. So I am comparing with that now, with the homa, where you want a expected result is not a appeasing hunger. Expected result is ultimately to generate punya, adrishta, not drashta. So in that case, they prepare certain special dishes and they have to be offered in that homa. And what is left over, he has to eat that, chanting mantra. And he was hungry, naturally, because he has to sit in that homa, so he can't eat. So from morning onwards he was hungry, and that homa went on for several hours, and now everything is over. And he has offered all these ahutis, etc. And afterwards, what is left, certain in patram there is certain ahuti is left, that food which is offered to Devata will left. He has to take it with chanting a mantra and sitting and all that. Oh, but then he may say, well, I am very much hungry since morning and I chanted so many things and so many hours have gone, and therefore let you give me the whole ahuti. You can't eat. You can't. They will give you a little bit. With that also you have to chant a mantra and then sit and then take it. That's it. So whatever the prescribed way they say, you have to take that. Because here, the expected result is not appeasing the hunger. Even if he is hungry, expected result is adrishtam. Therefore, when expected result is appeasing the hunger, no rule. Just take a dibba out of the cupboard, just stand there and start eating groundnuts or whatever comes. I don't have a fresh food. Don't worry about it. What is there even in the refrigerator, frozen, just microwave it. This is the last class, okay? Next class I will take it in that hall itself. Anyway, so he has to take that handful and chant the mantra, put in the mouth, etc. So all rules come. When adrishtarthatvena, artha, prayojanam. When adrishta is a prayojanam, in that case all rules come. When drashtarthatvena, when artha prayojanam is drashtam, just appeasing the hunger, well, no niyama in eating. You can take and eat. Even you can lie down and you can eat. People do that also. They are lying down and they keep a dibba nearby, and they eat. Then they turn around. Again they become hungry. They come on this side and eat. Again, people do all kinds of things. Anyway, let's see 115. अश्नाति वा न वाश्नाति भुङ्क्ते वा स्वेच्छयान्यथा येन केन प्रकारेण क्षुधाम् अपनिनीशति. So when person consumes, he's just, further talking about this food, etc. That the person who is hungry, well, he wants to appease the hunger, the expected result is visible, then in that case, no rule, that he explains further. So when person consumes food for removing the hunger, niyatam na bhunkte, right? We saw that. Niyatam na bhunkte. He does not follow any rule. Swechchaya bhunkte. He says, he takes the food according to his wish. Ashnati nava ashnati. He eats the food or he does not eat immediately. This is very particular. He wants to appease the hunger. Then why do you say na ashnati? He does not eat. If he does not eat, he is not going to remove the hunger. Then why Acharya is telling like that? We'll see that. Okay? We'll see. So therefore, ashnati, he eats the food. And or he does not eat immediately. Na ashnati. Ash dhatu is there in ninth conjugation. Means to eat. Ashnati means he eats. Nava ashnati, or he doesn't eat. But he wants to remove hunger. I am telling you that, don't worry. Or anyatha. He may eat in any other way he likes. He may fly and eat. Whatever way he wants, he can eat. What is his aim? Yena kena prakarena kshudham apaninishati. Well, his aim is by any method, one or other method, kshudham apaninishati. He wants to remove this hunger. And there is no rule because the expected result is visible. Removal of hunger. Experienceable. You can say that also. Adrishta is not experienceable. Punyam you cannot experience. Oh, I have done this homa and puja and I am seeing this punya is generated. Oh, it's going. No. So here there is a problem. Vidyaranya says somehow he wants to remove the hunger. And he says here, nashnati, he does not eat. He does not eat means how can he remove the hunger? Then one commentator explains that. That if he does not have a food, he may forget. Navashnati means what? He is hungry. He wants to take food. But, there is nothing to eat. Then he wants to forget the hunger by engaging himself in distracting activity, right? Dyutadina, etc. Means he does not want that disturbance to be felt. We also have sin. I have experience. I am very much hungry. And mother says, the food is not ready. But then give me something. Nothing is there. Because she wants to give that hot food. So she doesn't want that stale food lying somewhere. Or all this, all this ready-made dibba. She does not want to give. So she says, wait. There is nothing else. You have to wait. So then what I was doing, I just go out and again play. So that is navashnati. Means you distract yourself. You don't eat food means you don't want to eat. It's not like that. Because you want to eat but the food is not there or not ready. Understand this. Navashnati. He wants to remove hunger and still he does not eat. How it is possible? This is the way it should be understood. And in modern times, of course, sometimes he does not eat food, but then intravenous food is given, right? So that also can be taken either way. So this is how, means there is no rule he wants to explain. Yena kena prakarena, by one or other method, by hook or crook. He wants to remove the hunger. And there is no other. And therefore, in any manner he can eat. That's what he explains here. Verse number 116. Niyamena japam kuryat akrutau pratyavayatah anyatha karanen arthah swaravarna viparyayat. Now he talks about upasana, where there is a niyama. So whereas in case of upasana, where, this is an example for a adrishta prayojana. Niyamena japam kuryat. When one practices japa regularly, it should be done in a particular way. Like let us say take this Gayatri japa, Sandhya Vandanam. So a Sandhya Vandanam should be done at a particular time, before sunrise and at the time of sunset, or at least before sunset. This should be done. It's a Trikala Sandhya. So even in the afternoon also at 12 o'clock, etc. But generally, let's talk about these two Sandhya Vandanam. Gayatri Japa, the Sandhya Vandanam, that's a karma to generate adrishta so that you will not have obstacles in your life. So you want to generate adrishta. Or you want, so that you have progress, spiritually you can progress, etc. Suppose. Then there is a niyama. Kal niyama is there. Before sunrise it should be done. And at the time of sunset. But some people are kalatitaha. So they do any time. Sandhya Vandanam. So then if you are doing at a wrong time, well, still it is better. Somebody says, Swamiji, doing at a wrong time is not good, therefore I don't do. No, doing at a wrong time is better than not doing. Okay? Then if I am doing at a wrong time, at 12 o'clock in the night, I have come down and then, can I do Sandhya Vandanam? Now it's night, 12 o'clock. You said at the time of sunset. Yeah, but still, you can, there is a violation of rule, but then there is a prayaschitta. So there is a argyam, some argyam has to be given as a prayaschitta. So akrutau pratyavayataha, akrutau, krutam is done, akrutau, if this is not done, well then pratyavayataha, one can incur a special papam called pratyavaya. It's a very, 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 so therefore all rules are there. It is to be done. It's a niyata karma, you know, right? It's a compulsorily one has to do daily at a particular time. So this is to be done at a particular time and particular place, and all that things are there. And so pratyavayata, akrutau satyam pratyavayata. There are, it should be done at a particular. It's not. You should. You should do compulsorily anyway. And then anyatha karane. If there are people who do it also. But then Gayatri Mantra itself, they are not able to chant properly. Om Bhu Bhuva Chuaha, etc. This is not the way to it. Bhu Bhuva Chuaha. What is that? What are you saying? Instead of Sha, they say Sa, etc. Tat Savituru. Some people, Savituhu, they say Shavituhu. What are these? So, Tat Shavituhu, Varenyam. Varenyam also they cannot speak properly. Many people in India, they cannot chant these Kanjan consonants. And therefore, Indra is there, they cannot say Indra. They say Indar. That is how it is. So that is really Indar. Any Kanjan consonant, they separate it. Amrindar, then they say Amarindara. So that is, so this is how it is. No. So basically, Swara Varna Viparyayat. Swara Varna Viparyayat. Because of a deviation in intonations, later, etc., anartha syat. This is a rule. If you are doing this upasana with a expected result of generating punya, all this akruta will not be good. If you don't do, you will invite pratyavaya, special papam. And even if you are doing, but doing with a wrong intonations, laters, etc., anartha syad, there will be a calamity. Calamity means some kind of obstacles will be there, some kind of problem will be there. But in Nididhyasanam, we don't have these problems. Why? Because drashtaphala, we want to remove obstacles, which I am experiencing. I know I have obstacles. I take the body, mind, sense complex as myself. I take world as a satyam. I know very well. It's visible. It's experienceable for me. It's an obstacle. I want to remove that. So therefore, for that I am doing nididhyasana. No rule. No rule. Because you don't want adrishtam. Clear? Is it clear now? And therefore, this is the way it should be done. That's it. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.